Please welcome our superhero speaker lineup, Carol Livingston, Mary Miller, Fauwaz Hussain, and Bob McAdam. Today, they will be showcasing premiering content in their session, As a Dynamics GP User, Should I Stay Until Infinity and Beyond? Please stick around after their session for a live Q&A.
Well, welcome to 2023 DynamicsCon virtual event. And we'd like to thank Dynamics User Group for hosting this event and all of the sponsors. Thank you for your support. We'd also like to say this is a great event for the Dynamics user community. So thank you for participating today and being part of this great event. So our event today that we're going to be sharing in our topic is, as a Dynamics GP user, should I stay until infinity and beyond? And we have a panel of GP experts today, so it should be a lively discussion about the future of GP. We'll share some data and really kind of where our GP users are in their plans for the future. During this session, I definitely want you to share your questions in the Q&A in the chat, and we'll talk about them during the Q&A section. So if you've got questions, we'll probably remind you along the way here, but definitely you can put them in the chat and we'll respond, and then during the live Q&A as well. And finally, at the end of our session, we're going to be presenting a live poll. So this is where you guys get to interact with us on this presentation, and we'll share those results during the Q&A. So this poll will be great to get your feedback and, find out about your plans for your GP system. All right, so let's meet the panel. So first, let's do some introductions. So I'll go first. I'm Carol Livingston of Dynamics Connection, and I'm the president of Dynamics Connections, and I'll be your moderator today for this panel discussion. I've been working with Dynamics GP for about 20 years, both as a user and then later as a GP implementation consultant. So Bob, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Carol. Thanks. Good day, everybody. I'm Bob McAdam, Vice President, Strategic Partnerships at Cavallo, the company formerly known as SalesPad. This is my 26th year, if you can believe that, in the Dynamics GP space. I have a few gray hairs, and they're not all from children. But I've been a partner a couple of times and a customer a couple of times, and I led GPUG as a community, and now I'm working as an ISV. So I've sat in all the chairs and have thoroughly enjoyed it, needless to say. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Mary?
Sure thing. I'm Mary Miller. I'm the head of marketing for QuickTag. We are an ISV. We do AP automation solutions for GP and Business Central. And I have been in the GP community since 1998, and I've participated as both a user. I've worked for a partner organization, and now I am an ISV as well. So much like Bob, with the exception of running a community program, I've been in all the chairs, but I love being a part of this community, and we're really excited to have this conversation today.
All right. And then Fauwaz, can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure will. Hello, everybody. My name is Fauwaz Hussain. I'm a head of sales here at Notice Technologies. We are now also known as Evo Payments. That's the name of our parent company. I have been involved in GP community for a little over 15 years now. Unlike Mary and Bob, I have only been on the ISV side, but I've been working with Mary, Bob, Carol since pretty much beginning of my time here at the GP community. Very, very excited to be here and thrilled to talk about this subject.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone, for your introductions. And so today's agenda will kind of go through the strong future of Dynamics GP, and we'll also kind of talk about, really if you're staying on GP, are you maximizing that GP investment and optimizing that system? We'll also look at some data that has come from recent surveys, and also some fun facts about GP. And definitely, we don't feel like customers have to be left behind. So we'll talk about that. And at the end, again, we have our live poll. So we want you to share your experiences. And when we get to that stage, we'll give you the full access code and a QR code. Again, if you want to enter questions in the chat, please feel free to do that. So first, we're going to talk about the Dynamics modern life cycle. So over 2 years ago, Microsoft announced that they'll be providing enhancements for Dynamics GP through 2028 and beyond. Very similar to past roadmap announcements, where they show kind of enhancements that they'll release annually, biannually through that period. So that's very similar. They did move Dynamics to the modern life cycle. So it's really on the same life cycle that Dynamics Business Central or D365 Business Central and other Microsoft products. And every October, there is a new release with new enhancements based on customer feedback. So if you are not aware that the Dynamics Microsoft does look at those comments and feedback, please vote for your favorite features, and that's how those get included in the modern lifecycle in the October release. So next, we're going to really talk about the future of Microsoft Dynamics, and I'm going to be asking our panel some questions here. So, Bob, first, can you talk about the modern lifecycle and kind of what does that mean to GP users?
Okay, sure. The modern lifecycle policy, as you mentioned just on that previous slide, came about for Dynamics GP 3-4 years ago, pre-pandemic, right? So Microsoft had Dynamics GP and its users on a fixed lifecycle policy, which meant the support for the product was fixed over a certain period of time. Then they decided, Microsoft did, to promote Dynamics GP to the modern lifecycle, like Dynamics 365, like Microsoft 365 products, which were formerly known as Office 365. So GP got a commitment, a promotion from Microsoft by being enabled in this modern lifecycle policy. So there are trade-offs, right? You're going to get continuous support as a Dynamics GP end user company, but they want you to upgrade more frequently. They have 3 releases each year. One of them has new functionality, as Carol pointed out already, that comes out in October, but there are a couple other releases and hot fixes and whatnot during the year. And Microsoft would like GP end users to take one of those upgrades each year. So get caught up, make a plan with your partner, and get your Dynamics GP environment up to the modern lifecycle policy. Dynamics GP 2018 and 2018 R2 just ran out of mainstream support in January of 23, just a couple of months ago. So it makes sense for end user companies to work with their partner, upgrade their Dynamics GP core, upgrade the ISVs they're utilizing, and get yourself into that modern lifecycle policy so you can enjoy the promotion that GP received from Microsoft and get your continuous support. To me, that's a really big deal, Carol, and just kind of shows that Microsoft now looks at Dynamics GP in the same light when it comes to support as it does the Dynamics 365 family of products.
Yeah, so there's reasons to continue to stay current with Microsoft because of those annual releases and also getting continued support. So thank you. Mary, let me ask you a little bit about the journey to the cloud. Can you talk about what the customer's journey to the cloud, what does that look like?
Sure. Thanks, Carol. It's interesting because we hear from customers all the time that, they're getting questions even directly from Microsoft in some cases about why they haven't moved to the cloud or why they haven't moved to the next solution, right? In many cases, that's Business Central or another member of the D365 family, when the reality is that that is not the only option. And they can have GP in many cases hosted in the cloud, maybe hosted with their partner, maybe provided by an ISV solution partner that many of us work with that actually can give them the GP solution in the cloud as well. So there's kind of this perception that GP, if you're leaving GP, you have to go to a different solution in the cloud. And that is not necessarily the case. And in many cases, you can take advantage of additional solutions that are in the cloud, even if you still have GP on-prem. So cloud doesn't mean you have to leave GP.
Okay.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
So Fauwaz, tell us, was the cloud something that has been around for a while, or?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to mention. Like one very important thing to keep in mind is cloud is not something new. Cloud has been around for a while. In fact, recently I read somewhere cloud has been around since the 60s. But the modern era of cloud that we know began late 90s and 2000s. Salesforce.com was launched in 99. That was all cloud-based customer relationship management. And then AWS, which I think revolutionized clouds, was launched in 2002. Hotmail was the first cloud-based email system. So we have all been using cloud for a while. And as Mary mentioned, GP has been in cloud too. There have been thousands or hundreds of hosting providers who've been hosting GP for GP users. Then comes a web client, GP web client, that most of you have who've been using GP for a while have probably are familiar with. And then there are companies like, one of our friends, Power GP Online. They have created a cloud version of GP. They're the folks with Ngevity. So it's definitely not something new. It's been around for a while. But yes, the movement and the shift towards the cloud or pushing towards the cloud, that's something that's been a little bit more amplified now.
And just to add to that, Fauwaz, there's a lot of benefits, right? There are things like customers no longer have to maintain the hardware. They don't have to worry about SQL updates anymore. There's a lot of security risks that go away and vulnerabilities that they have to be responsible for right now that, if they've got somebody else managing all of that infrastructure and everything that comes with it is provided and taken care of for them.
Exactly, definitely.
So Bob, can you talk about with the kind of new modern life cycle, kind of what is the path to upgrading to the newest versions?
Well, the first thing I'd say about upgrading is it's important, having been a partner that, each end user company works with their partner to make a plan and get upgraded to a newer version, preferably one that fits inside the modern lifecycle policy. When you work with your partner, you have a strong partnership, you're going to get good information, good advice. You're going to make sure that your ISVs also get upgraded when you're moving Dynamics GP to a current version. And you want to make sure that you're covered all the way across with each of the solutions that are being plugged in with Dynamics GP. So having worked as a partner for over 13 years and doing implementation work and upgrades and whatnot, it's important to have a good relationship with your partner and work with them. If you don't have a good partner, then find one you can work with, because if you find a good partner and they invest their time and resources and energy with you, your business will be on the right solution all the way across from core ERP through all the ISV solutions that you're adding, and your business will grow and you will be leveraging technology so as to build a better bottom line, which is why, we're all waking up each day to leverage technology and grow our businesses and scale accordingly. So,
I think a lot of times people think upgrading to a new version might cost them money and why should they do it so often? But actually, in the long run, it could actually, save you money, right? Keeping that investment current and up to date.
That's exactly right. Microsoft is releasing new functionality for Dynamics GP each October. ISVs are introducing new functionality all the time. Cavallo has new functionality or upgrades to our existing functionality for Dynamics GP, and so does QuickTag, and so does Notice. So, we're all improving our products because we are all expecting Dynamics GP to be around for quite some time. So rather than just sit around and play hurry up and wait, we're leveraging our technology and continuing to invest in and encouraging our customers to do the same.
Right. Yep. So Fauwaz, maybe talk about what ways ISVs are optimizing GP.
Absolutely. So basically, like picking back on what Bob just said, right? So ISV community has played a significant role in enhancing GP, right? So GP is a robust enterprise resource planning ERP solution, provides core financial management and accounting functionality, but it also has a rich ecosystem of add-on solutions that extends its capabilities and make it more more useful for specific industries and business needs, right? Three of us are example over here. Cavallo streamlines your order management system. QuickTag enhances your AP. Notice secures your payment collection and AR systems. So GP has been around for a while. GP does have a very, very big network of app stores, applications in their app store, I would say. Now, in terms of ISVs, we're all focused on updating our, so most of us here are already on cloud. We are supporting both versions, cloud as well as the on-prem version. And I can speak with many other ISVs that I've known that I've been talking to. They're all doing the same thing. From our side, when we do launch something new, like a new feature in our one version, we make sure we update the second version as well. Our bulk of our user group still belongs to that, to what is now called the legacy on-prem version, but they do belong in that GP on-prem system. So most ISVs have already been on cloud in one shape or other, like whether it's a hybrid, whether it's full. But in terms of even partners too, so we all work with reselling partners, VARs. VARs also are preferring to work with ISVs that do support both sides, because you don't know if how your businesses or your customers are thinking. Like maybe some of your customers may have a deeper need to move over to cloud than others. And so why invest in a solution that can only support one system? So in terms of ISVs, we are all, each one of us over here are fully focused on expanding, enhancing our existing offering, as well as catering towards what the future holds.
Your point there, Fauwaz, is really good about partners. They want ISVs that can do everything. You know, they meet prospects all the time. The prospects have different requirements. They want flexibility out of all of us, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
What I'll say, Fauwaz, I've noticed too, working with the ISVs, and is that they are still developing a lot of new features coming out, more automation. A lot of it is cloud-based. So it does seem like the ISVs are still continuing to develop for GP.
Yeah, we all have a big user group, right? Bulk of our users are on the GP side. We've been doing GP for a lot longer than we have been doing the cloud versions of the ERP.
Yeah, okay, great. Mary, so what are the considerations that, kind of as customers are thinking about their move to the cloud or to Business Central, what should they be considering?
Well, I can share with you from as recently as this morning, where we did a live Dynamics user group meetup in person, where 50% of the end user attendees were representing Business Central and 50% of them were representing GP. That is absolutely in line with what we're seeing from our current customer bases, as they're coming to us saying, I want to stay with GP because I'm committed to this and I don't want to move. And I've got, a significant investment. I've got multiple ISVs. My partner's still supporting this. And by the way, a move to Business Central is not like an upgrade. It is not an upgrade. It is a new implementation, and it's starting from ground zero. In fact, one of the customers who shared their story this morning said, we still use GP and we're looking at Business Central, and it's like learning a different language. The labels are different. The systems are different. The way things are organized is different. And so I thought that was a really great analogy for everybody who's on GP and thinking about Business Central. It's a significant educational investment before you even make a decision to, test the product or see what it would look like in your environment. So most of the people that we work with that are using Business Central are new to the Dynamics community. They're new to Business Central. They're not making a move in many cases from another system, because it's not as simple as clicking a button. It is a significant investment of time and resources and education and training. And it's a new implementation for your ERP system, which is no small undertaking for your team, your partner, and it's got to be the right thing for your business.
Yeah, got it. So it's not an upgrade, number one, if you're moving to the Business Central or another cloud product. And a lot of customers are not new. They are not necessarily the migration of the GP customers or the legacy piece. So
correct.
All right, so let's kind of go on to the next slide here. So let's talk about your GP investment. So let's say for today, I'm going to stay on GP. What are some ways that customers can maximize their investment? And Bob, can you talk about that?
Well, okay, maximizing your GP investment. Look, everybody who's running Dynamics GP now, I mean, they've been through this whole, well, I don't want to say, okay, I'll say they've been through this whole long series of years where Microsoft is pushing really hard to get end users on SaaS solutions, right? If you were in Orlando in October at Community Summit, you saw the GP general session and the kerfuffle that happened in the last 20 minutes of that presentation, where Mike Morton, who is vice president of SMB at Microsoft, turned the GP general session into a BC general session for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
He made some statements that he later retracted on LinkedIn, but Microsoft is pushing hard, and companies, to me, companies need to make the decision. The stakeholders should make the decision on whether a company continues on GP and maximizes its investment or decides to do something else like move to Business Central. That's one of the great things about this panel. Carol, Mary, Fauwaz, myself, we all have invested a portion of our careers now in Business Central. We're not just staying on GP only, and that's the only thing we're ever going to talk about, because we're not. At Cavallo, we've invested very heavily in Business Central, and we've got some thoughtful products in AppSource, and we're excited about them. But a lot of our customers want to continue to invest in GP, and they're continuing to broaden their ISV investments, upgrade their systems, and because they know or predict that they'll likely be on Dynamics GP longer than most people think, right? As Carol mentioned at the beginning, we have modern life cycle policy through 2028 and beyond. So we're going to get a release in August 23 of new functionality, and October 23 and October 24, et cetera. So if you're gonna stay on GP, you should continue to invest in GP and leverage the ISV community and grow your business and be more profitable. So one day when you are ready to make a cloud investment, your income will be that much higher. Your ability to invest in the next system, your next ERP system, if you decide to go that route, will be easier because you will have grown your business and scaled it on Dynamics GP by continuing to invest in the core product and the ISV solutions that surround it.
Well, if we, are finding ways to help customers maximize their investment, what I see when I'm working with partners and have worked with customers when I was a consultant is a lot of people don't look at their system. Like, they do their implementation, they get on GP, everything works fine. But they don't realize as they do that October release, for example, there's some new features. They've probably missed that, right? They don't know. They don't get the training from their partner. So, I think that kind of one way to invest in leverage that investment and optimize it is really find out what you have. And, it could be you might not be using all the capabilities, right? There's a lot of modules that Dynamics GP has, and a lot of times you don't see them because they're not installed or you don't have access to your security roles. So, and a lot of times training, that's a really simple thing, right? Like the crew that was there when you implemented, they're gone, right? They're long gone. New people came in, you've lost that tribal knowledge. So, get some additional training, get with your partner and kind of make a list of things so you kind of properly know how to use the system and best use it. And also, I just think take an inventory of what you have, what you own versus what you're using. I always enjoyed doing that exercise with companies, and the CFO, was like, "Oh, we have fixed assets? I didn't know we had fixed assets." You discover that they don't realize what they already own and they're not using it. So
there's workflow in here. I didn't know. That's where a partner can come in and really help you, right? Your partner can come in and help you do an inventory of what you own, which is a much longer list than you likely realize, and see how it can help scale your business faster than you imagine.
Yeah, and then prioritize those, right? Set up a list of, kind of the low-hanging fruit, kind of knock those things out early, and then kind of put things in a budget, like this year we're going to do this, next year we're going to implement this module or workflows, and kind of get your plan with your partner investing in that future, enhancements that you're going to need. So Mary, let me ask you, I know know that the ERP system, it does obviously a great functions around business and managing accounting and finance, but what else is needed?
So yeah, Carol, it's a great point about ERP systems having, kind of a beginning and an end, right? They each have really great core applications and core modules, and GP is no exception. As a user, it used to be one of my favorite things. You could always, enable new buttons or extend new features, or your partners could do something, a little bit creative for you. And now there's, great things that you can do, even just copy and paste within the ERP system. And all of that is fantastic, but it doesn't have all of the additional things you need to do to run your business, especially in this day of do more with less. And everybody has bigger expectations, and it's hard to hire and keep good staff. And people expect this app mentality when they come into an organization now. So you have to look at the ISV community in many cases to find things like AP automation and AR automation and sales order management and automation. So you've got to look beyond what the core application can do to really complete that system. And that's why there's such a strong community of partners and the ISV channel and customers that share their stories with each other at user groups and community events like this, so that they can learn from each other to know, what do I do if? Because chances are somebody's been there, somebody's done that, somebody's faced that challenge before, and you can learn from them and learn how those solutions can really extend the value of the ERP system in your organization.
Okay, so anybody else see any trends on the, managing other functions outside of GP?
Yeah, well, just to piggyback on what Mary was saying, right? So the example that I like to give people is think of it like cell phone, right? So let's say if you're an iPhone user, or if you're like me who uses Android, you have, there's a phone that has a basic functionality, but then there's an app store that basically what makes it like a strong phone. Why did the iPhone became the first smartphone and so popular? Because of its app store and all the other apps that it has, right? So one thing that, if you compare GP with other systems, and I made a comment earlier that GP has been around for such a long time. So many apps are there. GP has such a rich ecosystem of apps that makes GP such a strong system. Other systems are not even close to where GP is right now. And that's essentially what the community is. And that's basically what helps you run your business. Tackle those challenges that other basic out-of-the-box functionalities can't handle.
Well, let's talk about kind of in that kind of same vein. What about customers that want to stay with their system? Are they being left behind? I think we just kind of talked about that. There is a lot of modernization that you can enhance your system, but do you have to move to the cloud or Business Central? Bob, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, being on Dynamics GP does not mean that you are being left behind, right? Dynamics GP can run on-prem, it can run in the cloud, it'll integrate to the Power Platform tools, all the ISVs like Cavallo and QuickTag and Notice and the scores of others continue to improve and maintain their products. I mean, no one's leaving the ISV space that I know of in the GP space. They're all out there improving their products, making sure they're compatible with the next release, showing up at shows, talking about their offerings. I mean, none of that has changed. No one's being left behind. Again, it's up to the stakeholders. If you are a stakeholder at your business, or maybe you're an officer or a key resource, and you're giving management, or you're a part of management, you're giving them feedback about how GP is working the way you want it to, and so are your ISV offerings and the ability to integrate to Power Platform tools, and you want to continue on this path, on this journey with Dynamics GP, then no, you're not going to be left behind. It's silly to think that there's too much of a community around Dynamics GP, partners, end users, ISVs, for that to happen. I don't imagine that happening at all. There are headwinds that all of us in the GP community face, but no one's being left behind. Not at all.
Yeah, and I think even I've seen on the GP support team, they've even gotten better. I mean, I appreciate, they do blogs, they've been doing some training videos on GP. Right. I mean, they're continually communicating with the community to get ideas and feedback. So I definitely think at Microsoft, the GP support team have gotten better.
Yeah, and we still hear from Terry Healy regularly out of
Right?
Fabulous Fargo, right? We know Terry is 100% behind Dynamics GP, continuing support, new functionality. I see her speaking at events all the time. So yeah, I don't see very many changes at all. End users can continue to rely on the Microsoft support team, like you said, Carol, their partner, and the ISV community, so that no one gets left behind. If anything, they're scaling their business because they're leveraging the technology that integrates to Dynamics GP and watching their businesses grow.
You know, and something that you just mentioned there, Bob, is a really key point that integrates to Dynamics GP, the solutions that integrate to Dynamics GP. Many times customers don't even know that they have ISV solutions integrated because many of us are so well embedded within the system. You know, they come to life. In the case of QuickTag, for example, we come to life of the additional menu right inside of many screens in GP. Same for Notice. People didn't realize that, you know, GP wasn't handling native credit card, payments. And I have talked to SalesPad, Cavallo SalesPad customers that went, what do you mean GP? I'm a SalesPad user, because we all we fit so well, and GP makes that easy, right? That didn't happen by accident. They knew the extent of their system, and they said, these solutions have to be easy. The number one factor, especially for mid-market Dynamics companies in using additional solutions, is ease of use. User experience is number one. And then it has to scale, of course, and work well with their business and solve their needs, but it has to be easy. They don't have 18 months for a project and, millions of dollars for every implementation. They need something to be easy to adopt, easy to use, and feel like it's within the application. So that integration point that Bob just made is really, really key.
Yeah. Bob also mentioned something out of Power Platform. So let's not forget that some of the new modern functions, Power Platform, Power BI, Power Apps, those are all available, for Microsoft Dynamics GP as well. So
you're right. You do not have to be running Dynamics 365 applications to leverage the Power Platform.
Yeah, exactly. See, here's the thing. The decision to stay on-prem or move to the cloud, that should depend. It depends on many factors, like several factors, like including what Mary mentioned earlier, your business needs, your budget, your IT infrastructure, right? But one thing important is that we've been talking about this. A lot of ISVs have already been running on cloud, or what we call like a hybrid model. So like, I'll give you an example from our side, right? Because, we just talked about it, how Notice has an application that allows you to process credit cards. We all know with credit cards, one of the most important things comes is PCI compliance, credit card security. You can't keep that data, or you shouldn't keep that data on your servers on-prem, and that's been a problem. That's been an issue for a very long time, way before any of these cloud ERP came around. So at that time, we came up with an option or a solution for this problem, and that was to create a hybrid model where you still process payments within GP, which is an on-prem solution, but we store all the credit card data, or what the credit card industry says, tokenize all the credit card data up on a secure cloud. So in a way, you're running like a like a hybrid type of situation. You don't have to so basically you were already in cloud then. So talk to your partners, talk to your ISVs, and you'll be surprised how many ISVs have already had this type of solution. But again, ultimately the decision to stay, the decision to stay on premise, it should be based on careful analysis or based on your business needs. Speak to your partners, speak to they're the knowledgeable consultants that is part of this beautiful community, and they can help you evaluate your options and help you make an informed decision.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe you can tell us, any of you can share any stories of customers and what they are doing in their journey to the cloud.
Yeah, I can share an example that we have a customer who was with us on GP for years, starting about 2016, I want to say, and they were on GP. They used our AP automation solution for a number of years, and then in 2020 made the decision. They were a technology company, and they made the decision to move to the cloud and move to Business Central. Those two things happened to go hand in hand for them. They're a technology company. They wanted to be everything modern, everything cutting edge. And so, of course, we respected that decision, and it was based on all the right reasons for their business. So now they are a customer of our AP automation solution for Business Central because they knew they needed to still bridge that gap and solve those same issues that they had with, their invoice processing when they were with GP. So for some companies, that is the decision. In other customer situations we have that are on GP, they've just decided to keep GP on-prem, but have all of their ISVs in the cloud so that it's less that they have to manage because their IT team is limited. They don't have as big of resources, as big of a team as many larger enterprise type organizations. So it really becomes about the customer need, the customer goals. Do they have a cloud initiative for their organization, or is this something that they feel like they're being pushed into? That should not be the situation. Everybody should have the ability to assess, as Fauwaz just mentioned, with their partner hand in hand to see what's right for their business.
And from our side, I can use literally us as an example. We're a GP customer too. Notice uses GP internally. We got acquired by Evo. Evo uses, coincidentally uses also Microsoft, but on AX and now 365 F&O. But then within our division, we have done some other acquisitions, and we're literally running 3 different ERP systems and 2 different CRM systems because we not only it's not like it's nearly impossible to no, I shouldn't say nearly impossible. It's very difficult for us to get all of our billing out of GP and move to the different system, but at the same time we found that it's not really necessary either. So we're staying on GP at least for the foreseeable future. But then in terms of our customers, one thing that I will say is that we've had some customers who have migrated from GP to BC. We have some customers who have actually migrated from GP to some other systems as well. But majority of our BC sales, and BC is, we're doing a lot of BC sales right now, but most of our BC sales are actually coming from new customers, not existing GP customers. So that like all the units that we have sold, even this is end of February right now, like in the last 2 months, they all are brand new BC customers, or it could be old NAV customers, but GP to BC is not as common as I thought it would be.
You're not alone in that thought either.
Definitely.
Well, and it seemed like, but before the pandemic, and I know we're not really ever talking about the pandemic anymore, but it seemed like a lot of people were putting off their move to the cloud, right? Now it seems like it's all cloud first.
Yeah, the past few years have been tough on small to mid-sized business companies, right? They had to go through the pandemic. Now there are supply chain issues, higher cost of energy, higher interest rates. There are a lot of companies that are just trying to keep their head above water and maybe staying put for now and leveraging the technology they own or enhancing that core technology is a better move for them than contemplating something else. There's a lot of balls in the air, and small to mid-sized businesses are struggling at times with some of these hurdles.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I know obviously we're not talking about pandemic anymore, but somehow we do compare, and you were absolutely right, Carol and Bob, prior to pandemic, businesses were hesitant to move to the cloud, right? Concerned about security, data privacy, and sometimes it's the perceived complexity that's associated with this, right? But pandemic accelerated what we all call digital transformation, expedited the digital transformation to the cloud computing, and it became from nice to have to must to have, right? Especially for remote working situation. And I can also give an example from our side as well. And again, just from the security side, right? So when the remote work and when shutdowns did happen, one of the most important calls we were getting from our partners was, hey, how do we enable our users to work from home? You can't take credit card payments, if you're working out of your bedroom, right? What do you do? So we had this solution called PayLink, which is, I joke around, I say it's like Venmo for businesses. Basically, you can send a text message to someone to just collect payment from them, and it goes directly into your accounting system. So those type of things became more and more must have, and now it's becoming people are more aware now. People are a little bit more aware about their surroundings, their everything, right? Their hygiene, their business processes and everything. So it has businesses are definitely now has adopted the cloud first approach, where is basically the preferred option for any new IT initiatives.
Yeah, and as we already kind of covered this. I think that a lot of the ISVs are covering both solutions now for Business Central as well as GP. So if you're thinking about a move to the cloud, tell us about that. I mean, is there continuing investments going on in your organizations that you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're hearing from customers is they want to use the checkbox approach, right? Like if they're a GP customer today and they have these, 5 to 10 ISVs, let's just say, they want to know, are those same ISV solutions going to be needed if they move elsewhere? And then are they supported if they do need that functionality outside of the core ERP, Business Central, by way of example, does the ISV offer a solution similar to what they have in GP? So it's kind of an enabling kind of discussion as part of their decision to move, again, to Business Central by way of example. But companies like those of us here on this call definitely all have solutions for both products. But I can share for a QuickTag, again, as an example, we invest in our GP solution first. It gets the new features first. It gets, things like AI we built into our product. We put it into our GP solution first. GP is still the majority of our customer base. Much like Fauwaz just mentioned, the people coming to Business Central are usually new, coming in off the street. They're moving from Excel spreadsheets or upgrading from a smaller business application. So the GP customer base still gets the majority of our attention, and so does our product and development resources.
There's no such thing as an ISV that's just in one ecosystem anymore. They're all diversifying. It makes the most sense to grow their business as well. And these three companies are no exception to that.
Oh, absolutely. On that note, we're all diversifying, and I've been spending a lot of time past couple of years going to various other ERP events, conferences to
I've seen
study.
you there.
Yes, we have. we have crossed paths, and as my witness, I've been doing my job. but in between happy hours, but one thing that I think we were talking as group, like Mary, Carol, and Bob and I, we were talking about it, and I was telling them, I'm not going to name who it was, but I did go to this one ERP event, and I went to their user group event, and they were celebrating their 500 registration, like 500 user registration, that user group. Like, it's cute, it's very nice. I support them, and I know that they're going to get there. But if you guys really think about it right now, where GP stands, like, we don't understand, that we don't realize how big this community is, right? I mean, the GP user number there's so many numbers, like I've seen from 30,000, 35,000, 40,000. But if you just look at the user group community, like, there are tens of thousands of users over there. Like, there are forums, there are places where you can go, there are user group events that happens where you can go meet these people. So it, like all the other ERPs that at least I have come across, are nowhere near as big or as rich as what GP has right now.
So that's a good segue to talk about kind of what does the data say. So recently there was a survey that was done of GP customers and kind of what is their plan to stay on GP, and 62% of them said that for the foreseeable future anyway, they're going to stay on GP. And most GP customers we've noted that have at least 5 ISVs that they have in their environment. So a lot of customers are waiting for those ISVs to become compatible. And sources suggest that if GP customers plan to move, kind of their top choice is that Business Central solution and Microsoft D365. A couple fun facts here. Sorry.
Makes sense.
All good.
Couple fun facts here about Dynamics GP is that, we kind of talked about it, but, it was founded in 1981. There's approximately 30,000 customers. We don't know the exact number, but that's a pretty good number. And also there's over 300 Microsoft partners and resellers that represent and support GP. And then now, this is your time to participate as an audience. If you can please take this live poll, we'll share the results during the live Q&A. So if you can go ahead and get your phone out and get that QR code, or if you want to, you can go to your browser and go to slido.com and then put in the code 8939989, and then you can answer a couple of questions, and then we'll review that during our Q&A session. So thank you so much again for joining today. Thank you to our GP panel of experts. I appreciate you guys so much. And if you want to ask us questions, please feel free, and we'll be available here on the Q&A in just a moment. And we do want to thank again Dynamics user community. Thank you so much for all you do for the community and for putting it on and hosting this virtual event for the user community. Thank you.